Win a brand new iPhone Pro Max 12 with these 4 easy steps. Step 1. Subscribe to IMG YouTube channel. Step 2. Click the notification bell. Step 3. Share one episode of Your Money Matters on Facebook and tag 3 friends using the hashtags #IMG Your Money Matters, #I Am Great iPhone 12 Pro Max giveaway, #IMG official channel. Step 4. Visit img-corp.net/iPhone 12 PMax and fill out the giveaway registration form. The lucky winners will be raffled during the live premiere of the last episode of Your Money Matters Season 3. Watch and share this with your family and friends now to get a chance to win. Good luck!
Your money matters. That's why we have this show. In this season, we've put together the best financial experts in the country to teach you all you need to know so you can grow your wealth, fulfill your dreams, and make an impact in the world. Hi everybody! Welcome to Your Money Matters. I'm your host, Risa Singson Kaupeng.
Build a second income. Don't rely on what you have right now.
Understand, recognize, accept that we need to upgrade our financial strategy.
If you're not adaptive and you're not flexible, then whether there's pandemic or not, you'll really have difficulty.
Prosperity begins in the mind before it goes to your pocket.
The intersection between passion, potential, and peso. If you can combine those 3 elements, I think you will be in the right track.
Join us every week as we learn and apply money strategies to prosper your life. New episodes stream every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Philippine time. Hi everybody! Welcome to Your Money Matters. I'm your host, Risa Singson Kaupeng from Manila, Philippines. Dati yata na-mention ko na nag-aaral ako. I'm back to school taking my master's in Global Strategic Communication. Nag-enroll ako sa isang university sa Amerika. So online ang mga klase namin. You know, while we spend most of our time learning by ourselves, reading assigned chapters and watching videos, I learned so much more during our few and far between live classes or group work. Ang pag-aaral kasi has a very strong social component. When we discuss with others, this deepens our learning. And that's what we do here at Your Money Matters. We don't just learn in a vacuum. Aside from listening to our expert panelists, meron din tayong chance to interact online. So do post comments and questions, especially kapag nanonood kayo ng ating programa. But more than that, we also provide a community where like-minded people who want to grow their finances the right way can gather and learn more together. So please do subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that you'll get alerted whenever a new episode is streamed. Sa episode na ito, ang guest natin ay isang pamilyar na muka. For sure, napanood nyo na siya sa TV, sa ANC, kasi he used to be a kapamilya. And sabi nga nila, once a kapamilya, always a kapamilya. Ang tinutukoy ko ay si Edric Mendoza, isang dating anchor ng On the Money sa ANC at ngayon chairman ng Homeschool Global Learning. Siya rin ay isang financial planner, he's an entrepreneur, and of course, a model father of 6 beautiful children. For sure, we'll learn a lot from Edric, so don't go away. Let's learn together when Your Money Matters returns. Palagay mo, how many times does the Bible mention about money? A. Over 1,000 times. B. Over 120 times. C. over 60 times? D, over 10 times? And the answer is over 120 times. According to some Bible experts, almost 1/3 of Jesus' parables spoke about money. We're back! At hindi ko na papatagalin, let's welcome our guest today, ang minsang tinaguriang cutest newsman on the air, si Edric Mendoza. Hi, Edric!
Hi, Risa. Thank you. Salamat for inviting me. I'm very excited to share what I know. I can't promise I have all the answers, but I'll do my best. Again, salamat.
Oh, I'm sure. Nako, Edric, ayan, kitang-kita nyo naman po, cutest pa rin hanggang ngayon, di ba? Hindi nagbabago. Edric, I don't know if you remember, but the first time I met you, I think you were still in college, di ba? And we were both already in ministry. And I know you've been in a number of industries in your career after college. You worked in a large conglomerate in, specifically in the real estate company, and you were also on TV, as I have mentioned, specifically in finance shows. And now you're an edupreneur. Tama ba yun? So you wear many hats. What money lessons have you learned in each of the chapters of your career?
Wow. There's so many. I think pag pinag-usapan lang natin yung lessons, siguro kahit isang taon, we won't have enough time. I think the highlights of that journey, working since the time we met back in college, I think that was for a publication that you already connected with. A couple of the key highlights as I look back would be, first, the purpose of money, right? When I look back, if I could tell my younger self a few things, in my corporate days, I used to think that was the best way to earn money, right? You do your best, you push hard, you climb your way to the top, and that's the way to get as much money as you can. And then I realized that through that journey, there were some sacrifices that also you need to make, and there were certain caps that were present in place. And as I said, even the purpose of the journey was something that I learned through my different seasons. I remember specifically in one of my corporate stints, one of my biggest lessons in the area of money, this concept of purpose, was when I was climbing through the ranks. I really wanted to get promoted, next levels, driven very hard. Tapos meron akong, I think, 2 or 3 anak, hindi ko na matandaan. Basta, kasi 6 ang anak ko eh. 2 or 3 of them at the time, and basically my family was growing. And, be very honest with you guys, ako yung tipong tao na medyo, I am competitive. So when I see people get promoted or buy things, there's a tendency for me to feel like ako rin gusto ko niyan. So it becomes a bar for me, and I try and push myself. So around that time, people were buying cars, and I said, uy, ako din. Since my family is growing, I felt like, I worked hard, and I owe it to myself, to my family, to be a good father and provider, to get a bigger car. So I bought a minivan, but before I did, sa totoo lang, hindi ko kaya yung full cash price, so I wanted to get a bank loan. But when I looked to get that loan, kinopute ko yung magkano yung amortization. Parang medyo tight, hindi kasha sa budget ko, no? Given my income at that time. But because my boss said that I was about to get promoted, I said, okay, you know what? I'll imagine what factor that will be for the promotion. And then I pulled out the loan. And I felt great. I was driving the car, new car smell. My kids were so happy, enjoying this new vehicle, and just going through the experience. And I felt good. Parang, wow, look at me. Good dad, good father. Pero, and maybe some of you have heard me speak, I've shared this in a couple of messages or talks that I've given. The reality is, because I was banking on that promotion, the promotion didn't happen. And because it didn't happen, then I now had amortizations I needed to pay, but I couldn't pay enough. So I started digging. Long story short, I didn't have enough. So I was digging from even the savings we had at that time, and nobody knew, not my closest friends, not my wife, nobody knew that I was panicking inside because I was finding ways to fund this amortization until I almost lost everything. Now, around that time, na talagang paubos na siya, my boss called me in because it was time for annual performance review. And when we had that performance review, I still so clear in my mind. She went through the motions, she thanked me, she gave me some coaching tips, but wala siyang sinabing, "You're promoted, congrats." So at the end of it, she said, "So Edric, is there anything else you want to discuss?" And because of all that pressure, I started to break down, Umiyak talaga ako. I was crying like a baby. Talagang hagulgul. I was really, really crying. Really, really bad. And I remember trying to cover my face like this to block myself from seeing her. And when I looked at her face was like this. She was in shock. She was like, "What's going on?" So I explained. I said, "I'm sorry, it's not your fault." And long story short, I share that because, she was kind enough to say, "Is there any help you need?" Financially, I'm like, "No, it's okay. It's my fault." I got myself into some bad money situations. And so if you can just let me know, ano ba yung pwede kong gawin that is moral, legal, and ethical to get that promotion, right? And she said she'd get. So we left that discussion, but in that critical moment in my journey, this is why it was such a powerful money lesson. I remember talking to a friend who asked me, "Tell me again about what happened." So I told you I didn't really tell anybody, right? But I talked to this person, and the person said, "Okay, you said that it's your money and you owe it to yourself to buy this new vehicle, even if you couldn't afford it, because you wanted to feel good about being a better dad." Ganon, ano? And that person, as they asked me that, I said, "Yes." Sabi niya sa akin, "Edric, I want to remind you, that's where you're wrong. We need to remember that we don't own anything. Actually, God owns everything. And our job is to be a steward of that. And the sooner we're able to embrace that, to change the question and instead ask, what can I do with your stuff, God, with your money, the more peace we will have and the less pain we will experience in decisions like I made." So that definitely affected me. And so that was, if not the most powerful lesson I've had in the area of money, it's definitely one of the most impactful. Yung area of looking at all of our money and our things as not really ours, that we really are just to be a steward. So let me just wrap up this main lesson with what happened afterwards. So I received it. I'm like, you know what? Ang ganda ng lesson na to. I will apply that immediately. So I said, "God, you tell me what I need to do. And I have a problem right now. Show me what you want me to do with the situation." So I did what I could, right? I did whatever sideline racket hustle that was moral, legal, and ethical to be able to have enough income to plow back. And then I started just pushing as much as I could at that job. And you know what? I got the promotion. And when I got the promotion, it was higher than what I was even expecting. And I thought na baka naawa sa akin yung boss ko because I broke down. So I got that promotion, and soon after that, after that journey, I left the corporate world and I became an entrepreneur. And as Risa was sharing earlier, who would have thought I even became an anchor of a personal finance show that has helped push this advocacy in helping people handle their money better. So that was one of the most powerful learning experiences I've had while I was in corporate. The idea of stewardship. There's so many others, like I said, but I wanted to start with one big one. So yun, definitely.
Yeah,
stewardship.
definitely. That was a big one. Ang dami kong gustong tanungin about what you've shared, because I think a lot of people get into money problems, lalo na yung mga Pinoy, Edric. Dahil dun sa natin, yung ginagawa natin na wala pa sa pera natin yung wala pa sa kamay natin yung pera, nagastos na natin, diba? And as I know that you're a financial planner, and I'm sure you've given advice to many people. Anong tingin mo dun sa attitude ng Filipino as an investor? What do you think are the aside from that, the common weaknesses and strengths that Pinoys have when it comes to handling their money? Kasi parang yung lesson mo is something that I think all of us should have learned or will learn, at some point in our lives.
Yes. So great question, Arisa. I think pagdating sa pera, yung mga weaknesses natin, no, sasama na ako dyan, is in that specific instance, although I did share that stewardship was the main lesson, the idea of ano ba yung gusto mong gawin ko, imbis na yung anong gusto kong gawin ko sa pera ko, right? Is that issue for me was debt. And I think many Pinoys, that's one of our weaknesses. Lalo na yung mga kababayan natin, yung mga bagong bayani. And I salute you wherever you are watching this from around the world. No, even in the show, yung mga tanong namin, a large part had to do with obligations. Both ways, either we have debt or we are lending money or giving money or sending money. No, so I think in that area, ang weakness natin is something that I wanted to just call out. First, you need to be able to look at the difference between good and bad debt. Ano ba yung pagkakaiba? Sa pananaw ko, right, debt is only two types. Either it's good or bad, right? And pagdating sa difference nila, I only have two very simple definitions to differentiate. Good debt is debt you can afford to pay, and that is on something that appreciates in value. You can afford, and it is something that appreciates. So for example, pag nangutang ka for a good property, right? It's a good location, appreciates in value. So you can afford the amortization and it appreciates in value, good debt. Let's look at bad debt. If you have a credit card, tapos hindi mo kayang bayaran, ayan, pagdating ng katapusan, that is something that is obviously bad debt because you can't even afford to pay that amount. If like me, I borrowed money for a car does not appreciate in value. And in my case, I couldn't even afford the amortizations. Bad debt. So, mga kababayan, mga kapamilya, right, wherever you're watching from the world, that's one of the things that I've learned that I want to encourage us with. Make sure you distinguish between good and bad debt. And when you know it's bad debt, get out of it. If you're already in it, you need to kill it. And how can you kill it? Nako, marami tayong pag-usapan dyan. But for now, just keep that in mind. The other main weakness in the area of money, pagdating sa borrowing, is now on the other side. Diba? Sabi ko nga, may mga kababayan tayo na you're giving money or you're supporting people, your family, your relatives, etc. One of the most important lessons I also had is when it comes to lending or supporting, only lend what you're able to give away. I'll say that again. Only lend what you're able or willing to give away, right? That's so important. For example, sa akin, and again, I've shared this story because it's been so impactful in my life. Sa mga jobs ko or sa mga business dealings ko before was working with a team, and we were getting commissions in brokering certain properties, or certain transactions. And my boss at that time, my mentor, was allowing me so many good deals. And as he was allowing me all these great deals, I made a good amount of money. And in Filipino, ang laki ng utang na loob ko sa kanya. Now, we parted ways. I moved on, did some other dealings, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. Then a few months later, he messages me. And out of nowhere, he says, "Edric, can we have coffee?" So I said yes, and I had coffee with him. And as I had coffee with him, ang nangyari is, he showed up and talagang parang he was in bad shape. He looked like ang dami niyang problema, and I felt for him. So the first things he said, I'm sorry, I'm doing this, I'm so desperate, sabi niya sa akin, "Bro, Edric, can you lend me some money?" Tapos nagbigay siya ng amount, sobrang desperate, sabi niya. So syempre, because Filipino, di ba, meron tayong utang na loob. Because I felt like I owed him, my instinct was to say, I'll find a way to give it back, to give the money he needs. But I remembered that principle, only lend what you're willing to give away. And as I was remembering that principle, I also learned in my life, one of my guiding principles is motion before emotion. Gagawin natin yung tamang alam natin na kailangan gawin, even if the feelings aren't there. Because when we do the right thing, the feelings follow. So yun ang ginawa ko. I said in my mind, motion before emotion, I will only lend what I'm willing to give away. So kinumpute ko magkano bang kaya kong ibigay. Yung walang sama ng loob, yung kaya kong bitawan. No? I can let go of that amount. The reality was it was only half. So I wrote that amount. I said to him, "I'm so sorry to hear about your circumstances, and I really owe you a lot for helping me out in that business dealings we did before. But I can only give you this amount." And I gave that amount to him. And inisip ko talaga na baka sapakin niya ako, sampalin niya ako, baka sabihin niya, "Bastos mo." But instead, a tear fell from his eye and he said, "Thank you, Edric. This amount actually is what I need for a check that I wrote that might just bounce. So thank you. So happy." So akala ko okay na. And then months later, I get a text from him again and he goes, can we have coffee? And then if you're like me, ang isip ko is, nako, delikado. Baka mangutang ka sa akin, di ba? So I was thinking, a part of me was like, I don't want to meet with him. But I said, you know what? The Christian in me said, okay. Sure, smiling face. I met up with him and he looked very different. He was smiling, he was happy, he said, Edric, my life has turned, my relationships are better, my business has turned around, so I want to give you this. And he handed me a thick envelope, ganyan. Alam niyo na yan, di ba, naka-brown envelope. Kinakabahan nga ako, baka inisip mga tao, ano itong dealings namin in that cafe. But he gave it to me, and when he passed the envelope to me, my instinct was, no. I pushed it back. I said, no, I can't receive this because, I gave that to you, and I said, I'm giving it to you. There's no strings attached. But because there is Ilocano blood in me and Chinese blood, when he said, oh no, I insist, tinanggap ko. So I'm sure this, Risa, for you and for all the viewers, in response to your question, because again, not every story will turn out like that. But the principle is sound. Only lend what you're willing to give away. That's true for people borrowing. That's true also for family members and relatives who you might be supporting. No, except your own family. Right, your kids. I like to share that. This is how I will close this. Yung weaknesses na tinatanong sa akin, Arisa, is what can happen kasi is in the Philippines we have what's called the sandwich generation. At baka na pakinggan itong term na ito, no? Where halimbawa si Edric has parents and Edric has kids. So kami ni Mrs., we have parents and we have kids. If I am supporting my parents and my kids, I am in a sandwich. Ipit ako sa gitna, right? And what will happen is, dahil nga dalawa, suporta pataas, suporta pababa, when my kids now grow up, they will now have to help support us. And then the sandwich continues. There's so much pressure. So to be able to fix that, in this same principle of only lend what you're willing to give away, a very hard process has to happen, but it will break that cycle, break the sandwich by asking yourself, ano ba yung kailangan ko para sa aking mga anak, mga kids, so that I will not become they will not become my retirement plan, right? It will not continue on. Once I know what that is, what will happen is, I now have to have a hard conversation upwards, those that I'm also supporting. Baka pati mga kapatid ninyo kasama dyan. You need to be able to have an honest conversation and say, look, I love you guys, but this is all I can give so that I can support now my children's needs and my own needs so that I will not be a burden to them. And then you break that cycle by doing that. It's hard, but there are creative ways of doing that. No, you can work with financial planners, you can work with certain conversations, but I encourage us to be able to look at that because that's the best way to make sure that the next generations are better prepared in the area of money. So yan po, those are a couple of the weaknesses around borrowing or even giving and lending.
Sobrang tama yan, Edric, no? Kaya ako, kahit na yung mga kasambahay ko, I teach them, sabi ko, huwag niyo ipapahiram yung buong sweldo niyo sa ipapadala sa probinsya. Palagi kong sinasabi, you set aside something na yan yung, parang sinabi mo, yung pwede mong ipahiram na kahit na hindi na ibalik sa'yo, okay lang. Pero sabi ko sa kanila, pero wag mo naman sabihin na wag na silang magbayad. Pero yung sa isip mo lang, yung kaya mong ipamigay. At napaka-practical ng tinuturo sa atin ni Edric kasi I think every Filipino, we're all in that situation. Practically all of us siguro are in that sandwich generation also. So, marami pa po kami pag-uusapan ni Edric. Huwag po kayong mawawala. Magbe-break lang po tayo for commercial sa pagbabalik po ng Your Money Matters.
Makalaya sa utang.
Sa usaping pinansyal,
magkaroon ng sapat na kaalaman.
Matutong mag-ipon.
Ang pinagpaguran.
Hindi masasayang.
Hindi mababaliwala.
Pahalagahan ng kinikita.
Para sa sarili.
Para sa pamilya.
Para sa mga mahal natin sa buhay.
Ako.
Kami.
Tayo.
Bahagi ako.
Join ako.
Kaya nating abutin ang 30 million Filipinos financially educated by the year 2030. Hashtag 30M2030. Corina Sanchez Rojas, kasama ninyo sa isang makabuluhang misyon.
Someday, you will get older, slower, grayer, but also wiser, calmer, and freer than ever. At Kaiser, we help you prepare for those years ahead, so you can keep doing what you love with the people that matter the most. Prepare for your future today. Kaiser International Health Group, the first name in healthcare.
Okay, nagbabalik po tayo sa Your Money Matters at kasama pa rin po natin si Edric Mendoza. Edric, dami kong gustong tanongin dun sa mga kwento mo kanina, but I also want to move on. My husband watched one of your shows, obviously on YouTube, because he just watches YouTube most of the time. And you were talking about investing in different vehicles, pati relo, di ba? And my husband is also, he likes watches. So, what's your favorite vehicle of investment in the different chapters of your career?
Right. I've tried quite a bit. I started off, and if people nanonood dito, kung di kayo nagsa-start, I encourage you to start with pooled funds. Ito yung mga mutual funds, UITFs, dahil the biggest principle in investing, di ba, is make sure you investigate before you invest. Kailangan po maintindihan natin to. I like to say, if you cannot explain it to a 9-year-old or isang bata, then don't go into it. So ako po, for example, I got into pooled funds, I got into investing in stocks. Yung mga anak ko, literally, nung 9 years old sila, in-explain ko at naging interesado. So lahat ng mga tatlong anak ko ng lalaki, they all started at 9 years old in investing in stocks. So I've invested in stocks, I've invested in pooled funds. But the lessons that I've learned and the things that I think are important in the area of investing is not so much what is the investment, di ba? Ano ba siya? Kung pooled funds ba siya? Kung stocks or cryptocurrencies or gold or alternatives like watches, right? Ang mas importanteng tanong is, what is it for? I'm a big believer in goal-based investing. So kailangan ninyong isipin, ano ba yung kailangan kong ma-achieve with this money so that goal will now help you decide what is the right investment opportunity, diba? So that's very important. My personal way of investing has been, I started off with pooled funds nga, I've done stocks, but my favorite, if you will, or the one that most works for my goals is something that I've learned from a guest na nakasama ko sa ANC noon, ano? Si pangalan niya is Will Stein, and siya po yung may-ari at founder ng Philip Stein Watches. So this luxury wellness line of watches all over the world. So I'm sure kung sa mga bansa kayo nanonood, you've probably heard of it. Like even in the Middle East, as I've talked there and set up some businesses there, I remember seeing it in the Burj Al Arab 7-star hotel. Right? They had a display of his watches there. So anyway, I remember him. Ang sabi niya sa akin is, when he was building his business, he started investing part of his proceeds also in stocks and other investments, but he realized something very important, and it really stuck with me. Ang sabi niya is, I went back and asked myself, what am I good at? What do I know well? Where are my skills? And wherever that is, I want to put most of my investable money there, because ang prinsipyo niya is, I invest in my core competence. So yun po, imbis na magpasok siya ng money sa stock market na hindi naman siya nagpapatakbo, hindi naman niya alam kung ano yung negosyo na yun, ano? Although he trusts, obviously, some of these companies and firms, he trusts himself, his abilities, and his space more. So he put more of his investable money back in his own firm, in his own businesses. So that's become the way that I'm also kind of about investing. When you invest in your own business, the potential gain is no cap. I talked about lessons even in the corporate world where your income potential is really capped depending on your job position, depending on the pay scales, diba, and bonuses. But when you do your own business, the potential is unlimited. Of course, the risks are also unlimited, go all the way down as well. So that has been one of the areas that personally I have chosen to put most of my investable money. I have investments in passive investments, right? Passive instruments, mutual funds, etc. But I also spend most of my investable money back in businesses. Businesses I'm starting with people quite closely.
Yeah, you mentioned that cap, no, kapag ikaw ay employed, and you also said na may mga sacrifices. Meron talagang mga sacrifices when you're employed. I just realized that because I've been an employee all my life, pero recently nga, dahil sa pandemya, ako'y na-retrench. And talagang yung sinabi mo na naka-cap yung earnings mo when you work for a company, I guess talagang yun yung trade-off, no? Of course, pati time mo nakatali sa kanila. But when you're, when you're doing your own business, when you have your own time, you can set your own sweldo even, no? Fantastic. Okay,
Yes.
Edric, I want to move on. Wait, question lang. Just for those who are curious, kasi nga my husband mentioned watches. Ano bang klaseng mga, di ba baka isipin nila kahit na anong relo, pwedeng investment pala, yung mga mahihilig na pumorma lang, bilihan na ng relo.
So, magandang tanong niya, Risa. No? So remember, the definition of investment is something you are purchasing because your goal is to have it appreciate in value and you will make a return. So we need to be honest, okay? If you're watching this, I want you to say honest, right? You need to be honest. If you're buying anything, luxury, etc., watch, car, shoes, bag, ba, and ang sinasabi mo sa sarili mo is, I'm buying this as an investment. If you're not planning to see it appreciate in value and sell it so you can make a gain, then it's not an investment. It's really an expense. It's a luxury, right? So yun yung advice ko. Obviously, there are certain luxury items that will appreciate better versus others. So if you're going to go into watches also, then do your homework. Make sure that it is something that appreciates so that you will get your return. Just like any good investment. Investigate before you invest. Ayan. But just remember, these luxury items, when pag inisip mo yung liquidity, di ba, yung bilis na makukuha mo yung pera, that's a factor. Make sure you weigh that in place, right? And finding the right buyer and market is also a whole other skill and art all of its own. So just be careful if that's what you're doing. Now, if you're honest in saying, actually, Edric, hindi siya investment, I just want to buy it. Hey, nothing wrong. We're not going to judge you. But here's my advice for you. If you're going to buy a luxury item, as a general rule of thumb, to be good stewards of the cash and the money, you want to ask yourself a question. If you can afford to pay 10 times that amount for that item, go for it. But if you can't, you really want to ask, is it really worth it? Ayan. So that has been a guide even for me. Parang, uy, maganda tong item na to. I just really want to buy it, not really as an investment. Can I afford 10 times the amount? If I can't, walk away, guys. And you're in my view, the money can go somewhere else, right? So that's my view.
So true. Edric, I know you're very passionate about your Christian faith. And there's this notion that because Jesus said that you can't serve both God and money, people think that making money or earning money is evil, or at least it falls outside the realm of our faith. How do where does your faith and your money beliefs intersect?
Thanks, Chris. Again, that's another very, very, very good question, right? If you go to the Bible, what it says is the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. The love of. So it's that heart check. You want to ask yourself, are you driven by money? Is that what you wake up, sleeping, breathing? Even in the area of problema, diba? Kung yun ba yung inisip mo, pagising, pag natulog, it's all about the money. Then there's something wrong with that. That's what the Bible talks about. And that's what is clearly wrong. Money in itself is morally neutral. I'll say that again. Morally neutral. Ang pera, hindi siya masama or mabuti. In the hands of a good person, money can be used for good. In the hands of a bad person, the same thing. It can be used for bad purposes. So money itself is not the bad thing. It's our heart condition. If we are driven by it, if we are obsessed about it, if we're living for it, then it's become like a God, di ba? Parang ito lang sinasamba ko. Gusto ko maging big time, gusto ko maraming pera, and that becomes my sense of self-worth. That is what is dangerous. So what should money be? as I mentioned at the opening of our discussion, Risa, no, the way we should view money is that we are to be good stewards of it. At kung nakita mo yung word na steward, it comes from the English situation where you had lords and kings, di ba? Kung nakakanood kayo ng mga pelikulang ganyan, ano? Where a lord or a king will have a servant, and this servant lives with him and uses all the things that the lord or the king owns. But while that servant is doing that, his family lives there. He's able to live a good life and enjoy while he takes care of the things of the Lord or the King that aren't really his. It's the same picture for us. If we're able to look at it that way, however much God gives us versus others, or however little versus others, that is what we should steward well. That's how we should frame money. It's really just a means to an end. No, I will use this to be able to provide for my family, to be able to enjoy certain things in this life, but that is not the end goal. So that is how I think we should best frame, or ganyan natin pwedeng tingnan ng pera pagdating sa ano ba nakasulat, pagdating sa faith natin, pagdating sa Bible. Yeah. So I hope that's helpful. Marami pang pwedeng sabihin, pero for now, yan muna.
So true, so true. Edric, let's talk about education. You have 6 kids. Konti lang naman anak mo no? 6 lang naman. And these days, sending so many kids to, actually just sending 1 or 2 kids to school can really be heavy on a family's budget. But you're into homeschooling. You want to talk about that a bit? Because I know that it's a very viable alternative to traditional school.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa. Let me just, as you were saying that, I remembered one very last important thing in the area of money and what does the Bible or God say about it. I love Matthew 6:32 that reminds us that if we seek first God's kingdom or His business, what He wants, His agenda, pursuing those things, and He'll take care of our business, right? He will give us all these other things. That's how I really wanted to close that conversation. Now, in this area of education, right, and the kids are asking me about how that works out for the family and my thoughts on homeschooling and education. My thoughts really are that, we are living in a very special time. I never would have thought in all of my dreams and years that the world would have shifted to homeschooling like this. When the pandemic hit in March of last year, literally, us in the homeschooling space around the world, we were scrambling. Because the data we had was 1.6 billion students all over the world were homeschooling in some way, right? Some were doing it still with the schools online. Others were shifting to control more of their time and were homeschooling in the way that we are doing, right? So I share that because I don't think I need to talk about it so much now because everybody's exposed to it, which I said is a dream. What I want to just encourage people with in this area of education is you similarly to the area of money, what will drive the decision that best suits you are your goals. So ask yourself, ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari para sa anak mo? What is the goal that you have for them? And when that goal is clear, then you can decide what is the best education system and then the education provider that best suits you. So system, is it online? Is it face-to-face? Mag-migrate kayo, diba? Or is it a little bit of a blend? Or is it pure homeschool? So when I say pure homeschool, it is the parents driving the teaching, and it is not the school driving the teaching, right? And then you decide what is the best provider. So if you're going to a conventional school, then you choose what's the best school that makes sense for you. If it's homeschool, you choose also the best provider. And of course, as I shared that, I want to put out there Homeschool Global, which is the provider that we are behind. And I trust those guys. I trust our teams. Yeah. So I think that's my advice for the parents here. Make sure you check your goals. So for us, for example, for our children, our most important goal is actually not academic. We are more focused on character because my firm belief is with character comes the rest of the other learnings, academics, etc. Kasi ayaw natin mangyari is napakatalino, napakahusay ng bata or napaka-skilled kahit pagdating sa pera. But the character is flawed, nako sablay yan. So character first. And our best way of doing that, in our view, is obviously making sure that the people influencing that character are the people whose character values are in check. And in our view, that would be us, the parents and the family. So that's one of the main reasons why we personally chose this form of learning for our kids, because that is the goal. And we're seeing it. We're blessed to be in a season where my eldest is 18 now. He's going off to college, and if I can humble brag to all of you, sa mga nakakaalam ng SAT, ito po yung test na kailangan makuha ng mga bata kung gusto nilang mag-abroad, no? And mag-college overseas. My eldest son was really our experiment at homeschooling. The perfect SAT score is a 1600. He got a 1540. So he ranked in the top 1% all of the world. So, we were blessed to see that the academics did follow, even if, our focus was character. So yan po, my encouragement to the families, whether you have one or more than one child, or you're about to have kids and you're thinking about it, in the area of education, ask yourself first, what is the goal for your kids? Ano ba yung gusto nilang talagang matutunan nila? If you even have a vision for what they become, even better. So that the education method and the education provider will then follow.
Ang galing, galing. Congrats ha. Sumusunod sa yapak ng tatay at nanay. One last quick question, Edric. In this present economy, what for you would be the best place to park your money?
As I was saying earlier, right, I think the question is not so much what is the best in general, but what is the best for your goals. I'll say that again. You want to look at the investment that best suits your goals. For example, let's go broad. If you have a goal that is 5 years and up, that means you have a longer term. And because you have a longer term, you can take greater risk. And with greater risk also means there's greater return. So that would be the investment choices for your goal. Now, if you are looking at a goal that is shorter term, 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 years, then obviously you can take less risk in that less time, and therefore your options would also have to be the more conservative options. So the best place to park or invest your money really depends on what your investment goals are.
Okay, magbabalik po tayo pagkatapos naman po ng commercial break, and we will ask the experts.
Love comes in many forms. But in times of trial and uncertainty, nothing spells love better than security, peace of mind, and hope for the future. For over 50 years, we have helped people express this 4-letter word, so you can face life head-on and savor every moment it brings. Manila Banker's Life. The best way to show your love.
Kaiser Medical Center provides a wide array of diagnostic and medical care services, ranging from immediate quality medical care to consultation to individuals and companies all over the Philippines. And because we value your health, our ultimate goal is to be your partner in health and wellness, even long after your visit with us. Kaiser Medical Center is a diagnostic clinic equipped with highly committed and experienced professionals willing to provide you with excellent healthcare service, focused on health and wellness at all times. Our aim is to have a consistent, lifelong relationship with our patients by providing convenient and affordable quality medical care and consultation which is preventive and curative in a happy, safe, and friendly environment. Kaiser Medical Center, kaagapay mo sa kalusugan. Protect yourself and your family and be certain with your future with Fidelity Life. It has been a long-time dedicated partner of IMG that provides life insurance benefit exclusively to its members to meet the risk protection needs. In partnership with Everest Memorial Services, Fidelity Life is also providing its members with free access to 24/7 Memorial Concierge services. With the consent of the beneficiary, Fidelity Life shall apply the insurance benefit to cover the expenses for the memorial services of the deceased member. At Fidelity Life, the care of our members and their families is our first and most important business. Be life confident by protecting your loved ones and securing your future.
Nagbabalik po tayo sa Your Money Matters at sa Ask the Experts, ang tanong po ni Michelle, isang accountant who's 32 years old. Ito yung question niya, Edric. What is your opinion on Bitcoin investments?
Right. So I'm fascinated with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I definitely think that, there are a lot of upsides in investing in cryptocurrency like this. But let me say this with a big but. My view, right? As I shared earlier in our interview portion, only invest in what you understand or investigate before you invest. And in the words of the Deputy SEC chairperson, who I also guested at some point when we featured a scam, the Aman Feature Scam, ang sabi niya po, among Filipino, we often trust the singer more than the song. Diba? Yung, sabi niya, okay daw eh. Kaya pinasok ko yung pera ko. But you yourself did not understand it. So that's the challenge. For cryptocurrencies, it takes a lot more energy to understand it, to be able to explain it to a 9-year-old, ang prinsipyo ko kanina, no? But do that. If you cannot do that, then my suggestion is you can use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies or any other high-risk investments that take a little bit more energy to understand and just, I'll use this loosely, play or educate, right? Put a little bit of money so that you get to understand it as you go, and that money should be something you can obviously lose. That's my view of investments like Bitcoin. I've attended some other workshops by other financial planners, and they will say if you are set with currencies like that or investment options like that, you might want to look at it as maybe 5% of your portfolio if that is something you can work with. So those would be a couple of thoughts on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general.
Edric, ang dami naming natutunan mula sa'yo. Thank you so much for gracing our show. We really appreciate your time and wisdom and the faith that you've shared with us. Sana hindi ito huling beses na magkikita tayo dito.
Yes. As you invite and as I like to say, as the Lord leads. So thank you again, Risa. God bless po sa lahat ng mga nanonood nito. I hope that at the end of the day, my passion again is that we will be changed, that this conversation is something that changes you in the way you handle money. And if there's one word that you'll remember from me in our time, it is to be a steward. So salamat po ulit. God bless. Thanks, Rita.
Ang katanungan mo ay maaaring katanungan din ng karamihan. Kaya't padalhan nyo kami ng inyong mga questions sa yourmoneymatters.ph@gmail.com. We've come to the end of our show, but remember, learning is a social activity. One last word from Ecclesiastes 4 verse 12. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Sa Tagalog, kawawa ang nag-iisa sapagkat walang tutulong sa kanya kapag siya ay nabuwal. Kaya sama-sama tayong matuto at lumago sa ating kaalaman tungkol sa pera, sa buhay at pananampalataya dito sa ating programa. Till our next episode, I'm Risa Singson Kaupeng. See you again next week because your money matters.
A brand new iPhone Pro Max 12 with these 4 easy steps. Step 1. Subscribe to ING YouTube channel. Step 2. Click the notification bell. Step 3. Share one episode of Your Money Matters on Facebook and tag 3 friends using the hashtags #IMG Your Money Matters, #I Am Great iPhone 12 Pro Max giveaway, #IMG Official Channel. Step 4. Visit img-corp.net/iPhone12PMax and fill out the giveaway registration form. The lucky winners will be raffled during the live premiere of the last episode of Your Money Matters Season 3. Watch and share this with your family and friends now to get a chance to win. Good luck!
We would like to thank our sponsors. Learn the secret to saving and building your future. Become your own financial educator through IMG, International Marketing Group, your total financial solution. May Kaiser para sa'yo, kahit maputi na ang buhok mo. Kaiser International Health Group, the first name in healthcare. Seguridad ng buhay at proteksyon para sa mga minamahal. Manila Bankers Life Insurance Corporation, the best way to show your love. Nangungunang kaagapay mo sa kalusugan. Kaiser Medical Center, your partner in health and wellness.